We did it, guys! We made it! We are in Serie A, we need to enjoy it. A fantastic journey started in 2021 and in 2025 Falange Arancione achieved the top league in Italy in Serie A after Series 7, 6, 5, 4, third and second division Series B. We are finally in Serie A. Fantastic journey, guys. I need to celebrate it with this video. I waited a little bit, but now I would like to celebrate, to share with you some important concept that helped me to arrive at the top league, because as always, I want to help you to do what I did, because you can do it. As I did, you can do. You just need a good plan, a good financial management, a little bit of luck, and you can reach the top. So now, let's celebrate this amazing achievement that a lot of Hattrick users in Italy is still dreaming, because guys, we are more than 20k teams. I know how many users in the history of Hattrick in 25 years or more played in Hattrick, but few users in Italy could celebrate the achievement to arrive in Serie A. So I dream always since the beginning, 2007, and now finally I'm here, and it's fantastic, guys. So now let's see deeply what I did from the beginning until the end. I would like to start speaking about the beginning. Obviously you have all the videos of the club Walktrought from the beginning until today, but I think that in this video that at the end is celebrating an achievement of this project, it's important to do a recap. So quickly, here we are with the table that if you saw my videos you already know. At the beginning of season 1 I started my long-term plan, training wingers, finding the way to think about the national team packs that I created here in this channel. And everything started thanks to one player, Ettore Trangoni, San Marino player. I bought this guy when San Marino was born. So this guy was the first winger captain with 7 leadership, born from the academies from the beginning. So I knew that was the pillar of the future of San Marino, from under 21 to national team top team. That means that from the 19 years old, this guy played in the national team. Until today, he's still playing, being the pillar of the national team and the pillar of my team. So here I did the classic plan that I'm explaining to you when you train winger, and that at the end I just try to step by step reinforce my team, waiting the right moment when I was with the right skill for the level of the series. As I'm always sharing with you, you need to spend the money in the right time, buying the right player for the specific league. I kept the stamina share always at 10%, just in the moment in which my players, my prospects were playing in under 21. I raised the stamina to boost the experience, but at the end I come back to 10%, pushing the training, and I had no problems in competitiveness, because the skill of my player was enough to compete in the middle series of Italy. Therefore, I continue to do my training, and you can see the previous video to see how I handled the lineup, etc. And step by step, I won the leagues, I grow up with my players, I focus on the experience. Therefore, obviously I had my under 21 pack, I had my prospect, I waited the under 21 stage to push the experience. I always play with them in the championship plus the cup, because I knew that the experience invested at the beginning was important for the future. And step by step I inserted the cost of the salary that was growing, and from when the player were 26 years old onwards was so expensive maintain this kind of players, and the ad stats were increasing, and that helped me to be competitive in the leagues. But at the end of the last video we saw that I reached the peak. I was able to raise a little bit the stamina, I was competitive, I won the Rig 4, so I was in the momentum in which my player could play in the national team, I could raise the stamina, I could compete in Series 3, and my stats were already starting to be interesting. Therefore, here we are with the novelty. So what I did in the last seasons, first of all, my players were competitive. They were strong, and I saw that they were helping me to put in the lineup nice stats. And there I spent my money to put senior players older than mine, because I had a specific budget, my salary was already important, I need to improve the ratings, and the only way to improve my team was buy senior player 32, 33 in that moment, that were cheaper, were with a less salary, and were affordable with the skill that I needed. The only topic was sold them in the right moment after one season, or I don't know, depends which age they had, to not lose too much value on them. At the end, I reached the peak with playmaking, so in this season I'm training mainly passing and set pieces to improve the offensive ratings with passing through all the offensive players, and the tactical of, for example, my counter-attacking the defenders, and with set pieces I'm increasing a little bit the 100 set pieces. That is important. Still my players are not so skilled in that skill, but in the future, when my player will be 32, 33, will be the right moment to push set pieces. I raised the stamina 33% to maintain the 8 stamina in my team. In this moment I am in the competitive phase. That means I'm not training anymore, I'm just fine-tuning the players, I'm trying to find in the market some players at a good value to resell after one season, to not lose value, but to keep money in my players that can be resold, to make money found for new players, keeping performances. Meanwhile, my core players, my 5 core players that are building the strategy behind the national team packs, are always available in the field to give the 50% more or less of the values of the team, and it's already enough together with the seniors player. As you can see, I had a peak at 29 years old of salary. Now I'm decreasing, and I will decrease even more in the next seasons. If you see here the ad stats, I'm arriving at the 500 ad stats. For some reason in the latest season, due to form update, etc., I was not able to provide better ad stats than the previous season. I can do more this season. I would like to achieve the average ad stats during the season of 500. I have to say the top teams can do even more, but let me say, guys, I have a big problem. The 90% of my time in this game was not focused on my club, was focused on the national teams and on the content creation on the videos. Therefore, I just followed the plan because I knew how to make the players strong thanks to the national team experience. I leveraged in the tactical experience that I did in the national teams that helped me to manage some issue during the championships, but I had no time to do some season trading, to even improve my economy, my club economy. Therefore, the last mile was perfect because anyway I was able to achieve Serie A, but if I compare my team to the opponents of Serie A right now, I am the guy with less money, and I'm not able to do the last mile to have a top team that can compete in both Serie A, Coppa Italia, and have a little bit of budget to do trading. This kind of step I was not able to do for the time that I invested in other part of the game. But anyway, I achieve an amazing achievement, guys, because my competitors mainly are focusing on the club, and so I had for 2 years the hot list of players full of Italian 17 years old players to be properly assigned for the under 21 scouting team. Therefore, I was not able to focus on the market for my team. I just followed the plan. In a specific moment, I updated my team. And what I did, at the end, this was the result in the term of economics. You can see the peak in which I achieved the most value of my team, both in terms of team value, so the amount of player in that moment was 97 millions euro, was the peak before the anniversary closure, and because my players were at the top of 26, 27, 28 years old, so they were at the peak of the value, and they had still cash to manage the team. What happened later in the last season, without too much season trading, day trading, etc., simply I stopped to do trading, just the normal sales to manage the improvement of the team, and there was an anniversary league that dropped a lot the value of my team, that was becoming also older, and I invested all my cash to improve the team at the final stage to compete in the top teams of Italy. So right now, obviously my team is decreasing on value, also because they are becoming older. Obviously, this I'm reducing their value, but I'm also reducing their salary. The performance are still competitive, but I have no cash. This is my current issue right now, because I need cash to switch the players, the senior one with a little bit younger one, etc, etc, etc. I have still 2-3 seasons, as we can see here. I have still my core players are average 32 years old, so it's not so much. We are perfectly in the middle of the peak with the top performance of the player, with the right skills, with the right experience. Just I need to focus in these 2 seasons, and I need to find a way to make liquidity, money, cash, to keep competitive also the senior players around the core players that I build thanks to the national team packs. Be aware that you can do it, because if you focus on your club and you do season trading, some trading the season, you are able in 12 seasons to make enough budget to manage these players and the salary of them. Now let's see also the skill of the players at the top. So these are my core players that build my from the strategy behind the national team packs. I started with the wingers. I added an inner midfielder, a central defender, and a forwards PNF. This is the cross cycle that I made the video about. So I have for each line of the lineup, excluding goalkeeper, I have a core player that is able to ensure good values in the field, from the defending to the forward, with crossing the line or the midfield together with the wingers. Now, what I did, look at the experience. My core players, my 2 wingers that were the core of my project, are more than 20 in experience at 31, 32 years old. Trangoni is the captain with a lot of leadership, and my core players like Diaz is a fantastic PNF that is playing Panama right now, pushing his experience, and Nodu is playing in Nuceria as central defenders, helping both the club and both the national team in 3-5-2 and 4-4-2, thanks also to 11 passing, with a perfect specialty, unpredictable. So these are my core players. Around them, I bought senior players that help me to play 3-5-2, 4-4-2, 5-3-2, depending on the situation, because right now I am in a competitive phase and I need to routine more lineups. Now, this is more or less the final target. Now I'm just fine-tuning the players with passing and set pieces. I would like to fine-tuning set pieces, and when they will be a little bit older, I will come back in goalkeeping, trying to do a little bit more cash thanks to the goalkeeping training. Now let's see other things I would like to share directly in the game, these players, to show you which kind of player we can build in the game at top level. And also I would like to share with you the match against Zagor that helped me to achieve Serie A, and some stats about my team. Okay guys, before to arrive to the match against a legend that is Zagor, that is a legend in Italy, but not only, within all the game, Hattrick game, that is the match against Orda Balorda Urbino, that helped me to achieve Serie A in the play-off. I would like to share some concept of my path during this season, because it will help you. I already told you before that due to the fact that I had no time, I was not able to do trading, etc. And because I was focusing on other topics in the game, but maybe you will have the same problem just for the real life, so you cannot follow a lot the market. And I would like to say that if you have a good tactical approach, you have a good routine with different kind of lineups that can help you in different situations, and you know how to handle them, and with some luck, you are able to face some risk that you will face, for sure. One of the important risks that you will have when you will be in the competitive phase and your player will be older than 30 years old are the injury risk. You have a big problem, guys, because when you play in the championship and in the cup together, you have an injury risk in 2 matches by week. And guys, it's 3 seasons that every starting season, at the end of the season, at the beginning of the season, I have 1, 2, 3 top injuries. So it's not just a matter of luck team, it's just a matter of statistics. So you will face it, and if you are not able to handle them, you are not able to compete. And you can handle with extra budget, with extra player in the bench that can be they can play in the lineup, or they can be sold to make money and to buy another guy, or you need to find a way in a tactical approach. What does it mean? Let's think about my core players. They are 5 and they are doing 50% of my values, even more, because my top players are even stronger than the average of my competitors. Maybe excluding the top teams, my opponents maybe have less top player, but average they are covering better all the roles. Meanwhile, I have top players in specific roles, but if they play, I have 50% of the values, even more, already there. So what I would like to share is this fact. At the beginning of the season, like the season before, I had an important injury. Trangoni, my captain, was not able to play for the half of the tournament because he was injured. I had to play with him. He was injured another time, and I had to wait 4 weeks another time. So 2 weeks plus 4. And at the end, with the forum update, etc., for the half of the season, I lost my top player. And you are saying, guys, I'm doing a training plan of 5 years with 12 season, 13 season, 14 season with my top player, and in the top momentum of my team, in the peak, I lose my top player for the half of the season. Guys, also in this case, you can find a solution, because you have the other 4 top players, and with them, if you play with the other senior players, you are able to put good lineups. And what I did at the beginning of the season, that was against Scavatore, I lost and I played 4-4-2, mainly because I had already the injury. I played 2-5-3. I was lucky that in the second match I played against a bot, and therefore I was able to put what I had in the lineup, and I was able to boost the confidence and the attack ratings, winning 8-3. After that, I had a very bad momentum, because I was not able to play with 2 top players, my Trangoni and another hybrid player, and I had to play counter-attack away against Picante in 5-3-2, and I lost. And on top of that, I had to play 4-4-2 for 3 matches without 3-5-2, that is my top lineup, and the average, the 50% of the players is using it at top level, because it's the lineup that is providing you, if you have the right players, the better replace, etc, blah blah blah. So why I was not playing with 3-5-2? Because I had no cash to do a switch with Trangoni, and anyway, I had players to play properly the 4-4-2. Why? Because if you have 2 wingers, 3 inner midfielders that are top, and you have a backup that I had, that was an hybrid inner midfielder that with some winger skill that could play also as winger, not only as inner midfielder, in a 4-4-2 you can still play because you have two inner midfielders, one top winger and the other will be a winger TM, but you have still a good level of midfield for a 4-4-2 with a winger so strong that help you in the 4-4-2 to boost the attack ratings. The forwards are still the same, two forwards like the 3-5-2. And what is missing? The defenders. But I bought at the beginning of the season, 1 million each, some player that were helping me to play counter-attack. On top with my Nodu, that is a core player with both defending and playmaking and the right level of passing, I was able to play 4-4-2 in a good way. Therefore, I was missing one important player to play with 5 midfielders. Okay, I will move the values in the defending with a defender that was just costing 1 million, and I was able to provide good values and good replays. Let's have a look. Let's have a look against Gatto Ciccione. I played at home 4-4-2 counter-attack. Usually you play 3-5-2. Gatto Ciccione was the top team with ratings in all Italy. I play 4-4-2 with Nodu, a central defender counter-attack. I play with Trangoni that was back, and that here was another time injured and was a fuck up for me for the next matches. And I had my core players in the midfield. This player is really strong, and I had my two forwards with Diaz that is so strong. What I did? The following. I did 40, was a triple match. The game is saying that was a 50, more or less. This replay you can gain in 3-5-2 if you play at home. So the game is confirming that there was a quite good 4-4-2. The tool is saying me that was a more open match, but still for the situation of my team, I did what I could. But despite buy players that maybe for one shot that will give you problem in terms of team spirit, low budget, etc. Try to use the player that you have. You should have, I don't know, 11 players plus some player in the bench. Try to find a way, and this was the way. Look at the match. I had around 30% of midfield that was for a 4-4-2 is okay, so it means that you can have still quite enough normal action. Of course you give more normal action to the opponent, but still you have it. And I had a counter-attack tactic of 19 that is quite okay. Better 20, but it's quite okay 19. So I had I had still normal action plus counter-attack, and I had really nice attack ratings because at the end I was playing with my two top wingers that are providing me a lot of winger side attacks, and I had my attack ratings thanks to my forwards and my good two inner midfielders. Therefore I was able to do 3 good side attacks, really strong. I was able to defend in a proper way one side, the other two were not so enough. So for this reason was an open match anyway, but believe me that this guy was really strong in terms of, and he did marking, I think. Yeah, let's look at the beginning how it was. Okay, it was 30% midfield. I had still attack ratings, and more or less was the same. Let's have the change. I lost a little bit of midfield, and I improved a little bit of the attack ratings. So this is the fact. Unluckily, when finally Trangoni was back, Trangoni was out. So what does it mean? Look at my side attacks. From 16 to 11. This was the hybrid guy that I was using both in midfield, both as a winger TM. And guys, also this guy in the next matches was injured. So also that I was not able to play with him was a fuck up at the beginning of the season. So this was an example, but another example of my situation in which I was really in I had problems was I played 4-4-2, 4-4-2. It was this match in which at home I played 4-4-2 and I did a draw. I had to play counter-attack and I won because I know inner midfield. I had 3 inner midfielders, so I just played what I could. And after that I was able to play 2-5-3, but because the opponent was not so strong, so I was able to handle him. The problem was against Nuceria, that was so strong, and I was away. And another time I was not able to leverage on my inner midfielder because they were injured. Trangoni was still not available. What I did, I used the players that I had that were good, so I had to find a way to put in the lineup, improving the ratings. And I played another time 4-4-2, and I played against a 2-5-3 that usually is competitive against a 4-4-2 because with the 2-5-3 you have a lot of midfield usually and a lot of attack rating. So you are with the 4-4-2 you are not able to gain normal action, and you are even not able to do counter attack because the attack ratings of the opponent are so aggressive that you are not able to stop him. But in this case, the main important thing is the fact that Nuceria, I imagine, saw my problems in the midfield and thought that I was playing 5-3-2. So he played a 2-5-3 completely without midfield, playing pick in Italian, sorry. Anyway, played cool and was too low the midfield. Therefore, he had good attack ratings, but I had for a 4-4-2 even more midfield, because usually you should have 30%. I had 44%, so I had quite enough level of midfield for a 4-4-2, and I had strong attack ratings. Therefore, I gained a lot of replays playing away, and also the game in same so. And when I was winning 2-0, if I remember well, 2-0, no, it's not true. I was winning 4-2. Okay, I was already winning 4-2 in the first half. In the second half, I put that 5-3-2. So I try to look at this. I improve my defense ratings as much as possible. Still, I had enough midfield for a 5-3-2, and therefore I try to reduce the possibility to score for him. And look at the lineup. I was not so beautiful because I had a problem that both Trangoni, both my hybrid winger TM were injured, so I had to play with the inner midfielder in the winger position. It means that I lost completely a side attack, but I boosted the midfield because I had an inner midfielder that was supporting the midfield for a 4-4-2. Therefore, at the end, the lineup what was trying to defend as much as possible for a 4-4-2. Trying to defend mainly the central attack of him because I was expecting a good central attack, and a good midfield, even more for a 4-4-2, and at least two attacks competitive for a 3-5-2 or a 2-5-3 of Nuceria. At the end it went well, and closing in 5-3-2 was really for me important in that moment of the match. So this was another important match. To not be so long, sorry, I hope that will be interesting for you, this topic of tactic. Another interesting thing was the fact that after the 4-4-2 I was Trangoni was back with the form also. I started to play in 3-5-2, was not so competitive, and for this reason also my average stats were not so nice in the previous recap, because I was not able to push so much my midfield due to the fact that my midfielders were not so competitive. I had to play another, here I push a lot the team spirit, because Sparta Bramante, that is another important team with a strong manager, but like Nuceria was really a strong Serie B. I had to play 4-4-2 against Gatto Ciccione because I was not complete my team still for the injuries and for the form. But at the end I was able for some tricky solution, and it's complicated, but what I can share here is the fact that try to focus on your matches, and on top of that believe always that you can do it, because in parallel the other teams can do wrong things or be unlucky and take some random against, and for this reason in the last match I was able to still be competitive. What I did, and this was important, the last match I played against Scavatore, that was together with me playing to be in the first position. Think about the fact that who was winning could achieve the playoff, but who was losing this match could go in the play out. And at the end, I won. I went in the playoff against Zagor. Scavatore had to go to the play out, and unluckily he lost, and now he's playing Serie 3. And guys, he was with a good ratings, and he was fighting to achieve the Serie A, and he go and the last match for random. He despite play out, the playoff went in play out. So this is Hattrick. This is the level that we need to face. There are not only you need not just to be a good manager in terms of tactic, economic. You need to be a lucky manager, because without luck, it's just a matter of statistics. Let's have a look at this match. That anyway, I am so happy of that, because also here, when I was able at least to have my players, because finally Trangoni and the Pirate were there, Trentin were there with my midfielders. Look at the specialty. Is everything that I learned, that I'm sharing with the national team packs, in my national team experience. I have the specialties in the right place. I have the unpredictable goalkeeper. I have unpredictable players in defending. I have the man mark and powerful that is so important in the clubs. I have head and offensive quick players in the offensive part of the lineup. And I have the PNF. Everything studied. Also, if I was saying that the 90% of my time was out of my team, when I was buying in the right place that I thought that was important for my team, I was putting my mind on it, trying to find the right place with the right specialty. And at the end, I was able to play Creativity 23 and help me to have this kind of replays that are really, really interesting against a top team. 3-5-2 against 3-5-2, both in marking. Let's have a look what we did. So these were ratings. You see, midfielder, I was losing the midfielder. So guys, why I have more plays? I have less midfield, I have a defense that is not so good, and yes, I have good attack ratings. But at the end is a open match in which also Scavatore could win, because he was providing away more ratings. Guys, what is the reason why I did these replays? Thanks to play creativity, because look at the specialty of Scavatore. Scavatore in defense was not supporting the specialties, so I was winning the unpredictable event. The quick guy was stopping at 25% Carlo Trentin, just, if I'm wrong, I'm correct. And also Saverio Bandi was not stopping at 100%, but just at 25%. And guys, also this is tactically choice, because I put Trentin and Bandi in the same position in the center, because I knew that Scavatore always played in this way. He was putting the central defender quick offensive in the side of the man marker. And so I thought that if I was playing play creativity, I had to leverage on the quick game players, and I had to find a way to ensure that they were not stopped 100%. And this was my way, put them in the center. And I had more heads of him, and I had more unpredictable quicks and heads, and I had the PNF that is so strong. Therefore, at the end, I had a quick event, I had a head event, I was not able to score an unpredictable event. I had also the set pieces event, the penalty, because I bought for the last part of the season a set pieces taker with 19 set pieces, because also this, every detail matter. Now 7-3 is too much, guys, we know it's random, but anyway, the match that I play against Scavatore, like the 4-4-2 of the previous matches that I shared, is everything that I share with you with the national team packs, everything that I truly believe, and thanks to this lineup I was able to win against Scavatore and go to the playoff against Zagor. And now let's see and let's conclude the topic about the tactical approach. I hope, guys, that for you is interesting. It's the 2-5-3 against the 4-4-2 that I played against Orda Balorda Urbino of Zagor. We need to have a background. Zagor is an amazing player, a legend. He knows tactically how to play. He won everything in Hattrick, and the only reason, the true is the fact that in this moment my team was healthy than the team of Zagor. He had more senior players. I had more younger player, average 31, 32. He was, I don't know, 35. Some inner midfielder were 36. So was at the end of his cycle, let me say. But also if he's not doing cycle training, but he's able to renew his team. But anyway, he was a little bit older. And this fact is important because also the stamina share, everything was in favor of me compared to him. But it's Zagor. He know how to handle it. He bought 2 players during the week. I didn't bought nothing because for the concept of before, I had no cash. I had to leverage on the players that I selected during the year. I was able just to buy a specific players for the set pieces taker for the last part of the season. But my trading is just for a specific purpose. It's not weekly or for a specific match because I had no time, and this could feed for the players that anyway had not so much time for Hattrick for real time reason, and that's could be a pro because you can do this kind of plan and still be competitive if you are able tactically to put your players in the lineup. So Zagor did Zagor, therefore also if was with senior players with less stamina, bought some players to improve his situation, and he had another malus, the fact that his confidence was really low compared to mine. I was winning a lot, I won also 7-3, so my confidence was at the top and I had huge attack ratings, meanwhile he was suffering it. The only advantage that Zagor had was the on bonus, and was a big problem for me. Why? Because this is Hattrick, guys. Trentin, my core player, inner midfielder, injured in the last match against Scavatore. I was not able to play with Trentin in my play off. This is Hattrick, guys. Therefore, I did simulation, obviously. The 2-5-3 of Zagor was the right choice. I knew that Zagor was playing 2-5-3, and Zagor knew that I was playing 4-4-2 for the reason of the injuries. The problem is that the 2-5-3 is better performing against 4-4-2. So how I could handle Zagor and his experience, I tried to find a way to play 3-5-2 anyway. But at the end, the simulation told me that this 4-4-2 was better. And believe me that a lot of users, my friends, etc., still are not convinced of this lineup, mainly because I did marking with 4-4-2, and it's I never use it because 90% of the time it's not working, because if you mark it with 4 defenders, you destroy the tactic, and so how you can leverage on the counter attacks. But in this time I thought that was important. Why? Because I was expecting huge inner midfield ratings and huge attack ratings, because he changed the coach in offensive, and he had a bad form in the defense with also the goalkeeper. So the only way to be aggressive was push the midfield and destroy me with attack ratings. He bought also player that was suggesting me this direction. He bought a quick forwards, and he bought a defender unpredictable to mark, not using the powerful. So for a specific moment I was thinking that he was playing play creativity, so also because he was with more quicker than me. So I tried to put as much as possible the right specialty, trying to counter his possible play creativity. But Zagor was experienced, and at the end he played attack in the middle tactic, because he knew that I was able to put a lot of inner midfield, a lot of unpredictable in defense. So he was better with the quicks, but I was better in the heads and maybe also in the predictable. So he preferred to push the attack ratings in the middle. And so at the end, what was the values at the beginning? The following: he pushed a lot, he did the midfield that I was expecting, I was able to do more or less the 30% of midfield that I'm always targeting with the 4-4-2. I tried to defend as much as possible the central part, not because I was thinking of attacking the middle. I was thinking more at play creativity. But anyway, I knew that the central part of his attack ratings were the main ones. Therefore, I played with the wingbacks toward the middle, and I tried to push as much as possible the midfield, also if I was playing counter-attack, because I knew that his defense, the possibility to face a low defense of Zagor was really concrete. Therefore, for me, the attack ratings with my confidence were enough, because the scoring rating were not important. The important rating were the defense and the inner midfielders and the midfielder values. Therefore, I also bought the coach defensive for this specific match, and I tried to push as much as possible the defense ratings. On top of that, and here is the match, what I did, I decided to man mark from the central defender to his TDF, his technical guy, because I studied all his midfielders, all his players, and I was able to reduce 65% of his skill thanks to this man mark. And this fact was better to keep play 4-4-2 without man marking, because reduce the rating of this player that I knew that he could not play with him to avoid man marking, but for his form and for the situation of his team, he had to play with him because it was too strong. But considering the fact that was 15 playmaking is the best skill, I was able to have a so important impact of man marking that also if I was cutting the counter-attack tactics, reducing a lot the counter-attack action, I was able to reduce a lot ideally, because usually he was playing as forward, not as inner midfielder offensive, the attack ratings and a little bit of midfield. Therefore, in my mind, I was reducing more the attack ratings of him, gaining a little bit of midfield to have 30%. At the end, he put as a central inner midfielder, and this was the man marking situation. My defense was less competitive, and this was not so good, but I improved the actions because I improved my midfield. I was lucky to do a counter attack before the marking, therefore I did already a counter attack. I did another normal action to play 2-0, but this game is unbelievable. So after other counter attack, other events, and other goals, I was 3-1. Zagor was able to do 4-3 at 74 minutes. So guys, from 3-1, 3-0 I think also, let's see here, I was 3-0 at 32 minutes, so I was near Serie A in the first half, and at the end of the second half I was out. But here, the magic touch of Hattrick. Capitano Trangoni scored 4-4 and 5-4. The Trangoni guy that I waited for half of season, the Trangoni guy that I bought at the beginning of the plan, that I built all the plan around him with the winger pack, with all the packs that I added following his training plan. He helped me to win this match and achieve Serie A, and this was amazing. Amazing. And another important topic, and I will show you, are two. The first one is that I won at the 90 minutes the experience event. Zagor is really clever and he has important experienced players, and he won a lot of time the experience event, but this time I won the experience event. Why? Because national team packs, everything is about that. Is experience thanks to the experience that you give to your players double match, but also thanks to the national team players. I had my strategy was around a captain, 7 leadership that give bonus on the experience of the team, and I won in the perfect match. In this match, I won the event. So also here, like the 442 in general that I leveraged thanks to the experience that I did in the national teams that helped me to find a solution when I had injured players, I was able to leverage the play creativity, and I was able to leverage the experience of my players. And now you can see also the impact of the man marking that I was saying, because I don't remember when Zagor, for stamina reason, did a switch of position, and the technical guy that I man marked went in the position that I was expecting. I think it's 70. Okay, 75 minutes. Look at here. He inserted a new player that could that's unpredictable, offensive, and his technical guy went in the TDF position. Now look at the values. Here we have the situation that we had before, some stamina reduction of him, so I gained a little bit more of midfield and maybe I improved a little bit the defense. But look at 70 minutes, 75. This was the scenario that I was looking for. I lost, okay, the midfield, but still I had more or less the 30%, and I really improved the defense ratings. Here was making sense, the 442. I had bad tactic because from 18 went to 14, but I had huge attack ratings that every action was a goal, and I had still normal action, and I had anyway some counter-attack that at the end I achieved because Trangoni did the draw with a counter-attack. I did simulation, guys, and for me the loss of counter-attack action was less important than the counter that I was giving to him for the impact of 65% of skill reduction of this technical guy. And so I went for this. Why won for this? For random, because at the end it was 40-60, and also Zagor could win with 40%. But anyway, believe me, that was not. Also, if I had some situation, as I said at the beginning, I was with more confidence, and my players were healthy, blah blah blah. I was anyway away, and Zagor was strong, and so for me was a poorly coin flip 50-50, and for me this 442, thanks to the marking, gave me this 40-60, and I'm so happy for that. And believe me, guys, we need to be aware of that. I'm in Serie A, but I could not win this match because 60-40 is nothing, and also I could also play the play out like did Scavatore that I mentioned before. So now I'm in Serie A, but I could be in Series in third series. This is Hattrick. You need to know, because I was lucky. I was there. I was happy to arrive in this way, and for me, I did some tactical choices that I'm so happy. But we need to be aware that someone could be not lucky like me and be still in Serie B, and maybe the trend of his plan could be not could decrease and could be not able to achieve the Serie A. This could happen because just 8 players can fight in Serie A despite 20k teams, 20,000 teams, just 8 teams play Serie A. So this for me is just achievement, and that's it. I don't want to deeply. I think it's enough for me. Now that I'm Serie A, the first match I lost, but there is a reason behind. I don't want to also. I will do another video next season. But for me, it's already an achievement for all the reasons that I told you before. I did 90% of my time in national teams, Nigeria, Italia, now Mexico. I did videos. I was not able to follow the market. I had no time for that. And I'm here. And now I will fight for that. I can be the last one, but I can be also the first one. I don't know, but we need to fight each match and join this achievement. Anyway, I have to say one thing. The first thing is the fact that I liked a lot the national team's side of the game, and I will continue on that. But believe me, guys, that this achievement, how I did, etc., brings me a lot of fun on the clubs. And for sure, playing at this level, you can understand the theory. but you need to play these matches because you feel the game in a different way and you understand what you need to play competitive. Also, just not one shot, but in a continuous way. So my suggestion is do your plan, follow some tips of this video of the club ball through the national team, follow the cycle training of Papa Mish, follow, do your own plan, but follow until the end. You need to arrive at the peak. You need to see the top. That could be not Serie A, could be also Serie B, or but anyway you will, because also Serie B. There are Serie B leagues that are competitive like Serie A. There are strong teams, but you are used to play against strong managers, and you learn what player you need, and this is enough. Now let's have a look at my players. It's important. I will show you just my core players mainly. So this is the Pirate 26 experience. Look at how many matches he played. 99, 33 in under 21. Look at Captain Trangoni. More than 100 national team matches and 13 under 21. For example, the Pirate this Friday will achieve 100 matches in the national team. My two top players, my two wingers at the beginning of my under 21 pack achieved nice results. Also another topic, this was not my, Trangoni was my first winger. This one I switched. So when you do an under 21 pack, you do it. You see which one you prefer, which one gain more experience, but at 22 years old, you have a lot of players that are sold by farm, sold by players that are restarting the cycle. You can do a switch, because I sold one top player that was really nice, that I sold at, I don't know, 10, 15 millions, and I bought him at more or less the same amount of money, but it was for me better, because it was with already 8 experience, something like that. So this is important. And let's have a look also at Diaz, that now is like this, but in reality is 18, because the skill up was really near. He is playing in Panama, is 17 experience, he's playing less than the other guy, but now he's playing constantly. This is, I think, the fully mandate of him. After that, he will be older like the others. No, maybe Diaz is a little bit older of them, so they have more time still. Let's take a look at Trentin. This is the unlucky guy. It's 2 seasons that is with bad form and injuries. Now, for example, I'm in Serie A, I am not able to handle him, but I have another important injury in the inner midfielder. So the injury risks are always there. Anyway, this guy is more than 18, is with +1. I'm playing less because he's of Italian, so a cut of 20%. He's near 50%, 15 passing, so he's more offensive. He's 8 score in reality, and I tried to was already with 8, and I liked for the specialty. Maybe this guy could be with less defending and a little bit more of playmaking or passing, being more offensive, but I like him. I like him like this, and I would like to have him for the whole season with a quite decent fort. I hope that he will come back and finally, because look at him, injured. I waited him, he played one day, and he is another time injured. So he's like Trandoni last time. Is Nodu is I paid him less, 5 millions. So sometimes you don't need always the top level. So ideally you should have 17, okay? I paid but the other guy I paid 10, 15 millions. This guy the half, and anyway is providing me huge performance, because anyway he's at 16 playmaking and 17 and more defending. He's with unpredictable specialty, he's with passing skill, he's playing, he play less, but anyway he's playing in this national team. And anyway, thanks to all these things, I'm cutting the salary, guys, and it's important, because you reduce, it's like playing with Italian guy, and in this kind of players that are so important with so huge skill, it's a competitive advantage. Play with these players, with this fidelity, with the cut salary. So I wanted to share my core players. Now, the last topic, I would like to see the statistic beta because I think are interesting. We can see that I would like to see players in some statistic, for example, goals, but I would like to see all season. So for example, Bundy, that it was an hybrid player that I train always at 15%, that I'm keeping him like third forward, because anyway, if I pay a senior player, was expensive, and without fidelity was more or less the same with the impact, and he's really costing me nothing. He is near to 100 goals. Diaz, that is playing with me since a few seasons, is achieving the record. Trangoni, that is my captain, playing since the beginning, anyways, I hope he will achieve 100 goals. Look at the appearance. I'm so happy to say that Trangoni did the record ever for Falange Arancione. Bonfrante was a player of my previous cycle, let me say. Captain Trangoni was is the leader of my team. Meanwhile, Alessandro Dema was the leader of my oldest cycle. Another important thing, man of the match, Suarto, that was a nice winger that I switched for the Pirate. Transfers. Look at this. I bought the Pirate, that was amazing, and I sold Suarto. I was a switch simply. So, okay, it was expensive, but I made the budget thanks to what I sold. And I sold Del Piero and Bernia, that were two wingers, and this helped me to make the money to buy Trentin. That, for example, guys, this is, for me, every time you do something, a plan like this, you think about what you are doing, and you always do some mistake that you want to fix. For example, I have no regrets to have paid 10 million Diaz, because he's a so strong forwards PNF that is so important in a team. I'm so happy to have bought the Pirate at 15 millions, considering the fact that I sold the others at high level. Trangoni I bought at 7 million at 17 years old, so it was really huge, but for me it's giving sense to all the strategy of my team. The only thing that I'm not happy is the 10 millions that I spent to Trentin, because in this moment, but could make sense for other topics, etc. I look always at the market. I paid 10 millions a inner midfielder that is costing me less because he's Italian, but at the end he's not playing my national team, and this is a risk of the national team packs. It's not possible that all the national team players that you have are like Trangoni or the Pirate. Could be like Nodu, that is played just 20 times, or like Trentin, that in a big team like Italy is not playing, also if he's strong. But if he's strong, it's okay. It's okay. Therefore, I paid 5 millions the Nigerian guy. Okay, he's playing less than the others, but he's providing me values. Is okay for me. The problem is Trentin. 10 millions removed me a lot of cash that was able to give me values in other part of the lineup. And a inner midfielder at 31, 32 years old, you pay 2-3 millions, because all the people is staying playmaking at 29, 30, 31, 32 years old. The inner midfielder with 18, 19 playmaking are costing a lot in terms of salary, so a lot of players are selling it, and the cost of this player is not so big, because the salary is already so high that the purchasing cost is less than the other players. Therefore, was a bad choice invest 10 million in an inner midfielder for how the market is right now. Maybe in the future this concept could be for the wingbacks, I don't know. So if I was spending this money for other players, it was better. Anyway, Trentin is strong, provide me a lot of ratings in the midfield, is with the perfect specialty for me, with the perfect skill, so I'm happy with him. But it was for me a mistake for economic point of view, and I suggest you to double check these kind of things. So guys, the video was long, but I think I share with you a lot of important concepts that can help you to build your home project as you want and to enjoy the game, because you have two way, or you're able to handle the market and to switch the players season after season to be able to be competitive, to have a total amount of salary not so expensive, and thanks to the senior players be competitive season after season. But if you are not able to do so, the only way to achieve these ratings is find a way to do a training plan. That could be the national team packs, the cycle training, or whatever is a training plan, a long-term plan. You need to hit the right skill, and I suggest you to check all the targets of the national team packs, also just the reels, the shorts that are 50 seconds, provide you the idea of which target for each position you need, and find a way to build your plan and mix them in the right moment, etc. I did some example in the videos. Be aware of the salary, it will be so expensive. If you are not able to compensate with a little bit of season trading, in the last season you will have loss, or you have a reserve of money, cash, or you on a specific momentum you have to sell some players. Mathematic. I was able to maintain these players because I had budget. I had budget that step by step was reduced thanks to due to the salary. Right now is 2 seasons that more or less I'm not doing profit, but I'm not losing. Keeping the salary thanks to the better sponsor, etc. This season also the sponsor is changed. I'm gaining a little bit more also because I'm Serie A. So I'm curious to see if I'm able to do some profit. This will help me because I'm considering the fact that I'm so happy to be in Serie A. I'm a little bit more competitive in the focus on the market, but really few. So I'm trying to do, let me say, season trading, or anyway, trying to buy players below the average market and selling them in the right moment to do some profit. Plus, I should have more bonus from the sponsor. So I hope that at the end of the season, my core players are still there, still strong for the next season. I was able to gain some millions. Plus, I renew the senior players that are now 35 years old, and I will switch with 34, 33 years old. This is my target. I don't know if I will be able or not, but I will try. So, this concept is important, and just don't stop. Go ahead and arrive at the end of your plan, because you can achieve nice results. No worries if you don't know what put together around your core players. You need to understand by yourself. Try to understand the targets that I told you. If you are in a middle series and with less budget, if a wingback needs 17 defending and 17 winger, you cannot buy him because it's too expensive, and it's also not necessary for the level of the league. Buy a player with less winger skill, also 7, just a little bit to provide a little bit of side attacks. Try to keep 17 defending, at least you have a good level of defense. 17 in defending is too much because the salary is high and still is too much for your series. Reduce a little bit of the defending skill to 15, 14, depending on your league. Try to follow this kind of logic. And when you buy it, maybe use the simulator. I don't know if it's a supporting function, but in this way, you will understand step by step how to improve your team and check the stats of your opponents. Defense, midfield, attack, compared to yours. Understand where part of the lineup you need to improve and buy the players accordingly. But buy in the right momentum when your core players are competitive for the league that you are, in which you are. Okay, guys? It's a long video, but I think behind it you have a lot of concepts that you need to think about. Thank you guys, I'm so happy for that achievement, and believe me that I will fight to do a good season in Serie A. Thank you guys, see you in the next video, ciao ciao!